All right, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Devine. I'm a technical sales specialist for Global Test Supply. Thanks for joining today's webinar hosted by Global Test Supply University. Today's topic is going to be industrial software solutions for thermal imaging cameras in partnership with FLIR. We kindly ask that you mute your microphone for the duration of the presentation. The presentation is going to last between 40 and 45 minutes, and then we're going to have some time at the end for a Q&A. So we encourage you to ask questions at any time, and we'll get to your questions at the end during the Q&A period. Global Test Supply and FLIR have been working closely together for many years. We pride ourselves on being a leading distributor of FLIR in the US. This is a result of our dedication to offering you our expertise, service, and competitive pricing. Okay, so let's get started. Today's webinar, it's hosted by Russell Hall. Russell is based in Wisconsin, and he has been a channel partner manager for FLIR for the past 3 years. We also have Manny Alsai joining us. Manny is a district sales manager, and he looks after all segments. Manny has been with FLIR since 2012.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Just wanted to say hello to everybody. I'm going to kill my webcam just to make sure that we're getting the most bandwidth here out of the presentation. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Sean, Global Test and team for having us. And then Manny and I are excited to present to you guys some of our software solutions. All right, and Sean, just give me a affirmation that you can still hear and see my screen okay?
Yeah, everything sounds good, Russell. Everything's loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. All right, we will go ahead and get started. So a quick agenda. We'll look at the available software solutions provided by Teledyne FLIR. And then also a lot of questions we get are, I have this camera, what software do I need? Or, do I need software for this type of camera? So we'll go over that. And then we'll take a deeper dive into our FLIR Thermal Studio. That's really like our flagship software for our handheld cameras. And then I'll bring in Manny, and he'll go through a little bit of a live demo of the software. And then we'll stop and have a couple different pauses for some Q&A. So absolutely, throughout the presentation, as a question comes to mind, please type that in, and then Sean will be able to let us know all those questions throughout the presentation. All right, so as I said, we got a bunch of different verticals for Teledyne FLIR. And the 4 main verticals that some of you on this call might be working in are, for us, condition monitoring, optical gas imaging, EST is elevated skin temperature, and then R&D and science. So again, we have different software solutions for all of these different camera solutions. And what we're going to be talking about for the most part today is our condition monitoring based software. So this is for our handheld cameras, whether it's our FLIR One Pro that goes into your cell phone, a handheld EX camera or EXX or T-Series professional camera that you're using for condition monitoring. So the nice thing about this software is that it gives you a lot of advantages. One, it's going to save time on your work assignments by utilizing our software, and we'll go over some tips and tricks how to make it more beneficial and useful to you. You'll save a lot of time. For your facility, you're going to increase your uptime because you're going to be finding these issues a lot more regularly before they become big problems. You're going to be increasing your uptime. When you're increasing your uptime, when you're running more smoothly, you're obviously reducing your maintenance cost. With the reporting also, you'll be able to easily share your reports and your findings with customers or coworkers. And then when you can share that information, then the people involved are able to make more informed decisions at a faster pace. So again, being more efficient. And then the last couple things here, we'll talk about how we can streamline your activities if you're doing a lot of constant, checks at regular intervals, how you can do that better. And then you can create report templates and give it a nice professional look and feel. So our target users and hopefully everybody in the call, it kind of fits into at least one of these buckets. We have what we're calling the craftsmen. These are guys that are just on the job, need a quick gut check. They might have a thermal camera on them. Quick inspector, maybe you're a home inspector or a restoration person, and you're going in. You use thermal a little bit more frequently, and then maybe you're doing a little bit of report outs or findings. The expert inspector, so this is somebody that most of their day they're doing a lot of thermal scans, maybe on electrical panels, energy audits, predictive maintenance. And then also the asset inspector. Again, similar to expert inspector, but this person's probably going to have a thermography license or certificate, and they do a lot of thermography for the majority of their work day. So hopefully you're falling into one of those categories, and or maybe have one of our FLIR cameras or a different camera. Again, so the craftsmen, again, they're just going to make these quick status assessments. This is going to be used more for personal use, right? Just for their own quick gut check and safety. The quick inspector, again, you might use these a little more regularly, and again, you're going to want to report out a little bit. The expert inspector, you're going to be doing professional thermography inspection assignments. And then the asset inspector, again, this is a thermal imaging camera is going to be their #1 tool, like a hammer to a carpenter. They're going to be using a thermal camera day in and day out. So now we have our software portfolio and kind of how it relates to each one of these types of workers out there. So the craftsman, again, this is just going to be for your personal use. Maybe you don't use thermal every day, so you're not going to buy the most expensive camera, but maybe just like our FLIR One Pro that connects to your phone that you want to have on you just for quick checks, right? For that, the software is going to be built into that app, and you're probably not going to need much more than that. For the basic inspector, you might have a couple more tools under your belt, and you might be maybe using thermal a little more regularly. You might benefit from one of our cloud-based softwares. These are free, the Ignite web library or Tools Mobile. And then also, if you do take some of your work home to your laptop or to your desktop, we would also recommend our Thermal Studio Starter. This is a free version of our desktop software. Again, so if some of that work is coming back to the office at night and you're doing report outs, then obviously sometimes working on a computer is going to be a little more user-friendly than having to do everything, with your 2 thumbs on your phone. The expert thermography inspector, they're going to be more to the professional side. So our Thermal Studio Standard or our Thermal Studio Pro would probably be the best fit for them. When they're in the field, they might use the Tools Mobile or the Ignite as well. Again, through there, they can do some quick reporting and also sharing on the job site. And then the expert asset inspector, this is somebody that's going to go out, maybe they have a route or regular interval inspection of assets that they're going to do. And, they're going through hundreds or, 150, 200 different images a day. They're definitely going to want to take that back to the computer and use all of the efficiencies of our Thermal Studio Pro and our Thermal Studio Pro Route Creator. We'll talk a little bit more deeply about Route Creator, but basically you can pre-populate all of the assets that you need to inspect on a given day, and it be pre-populated inside your camera. So then once it's inside your camera, you're just following the bouncing ball on what asset you need to inspect next. So when we line these up again with the different handheld cameras in our portfolio, this is kind of how they map out. Again, the Craftsman, you're going to be using more of like the FLIR One and our TG series. Quick inspector, maybe you have one of our handheld EX cameras, and then the expert and the asset inspector, they're going to be more on the professional side, the handheld professional side, with our EXX series, which would be like our E76, 86, 96, or our T500, T800, or T1020 cameras. So again, there is a right mix and match for the camera that you are using and the applicable software that you will need or get the most use out of. So I mentioned Thermal Studio, that kind of being our flagship software, especially for our condition monitoring group. This was revamped a couple years ago. Maybe you've heard of FLIR Tools or FLIR Tools Plus. Thermal Studio is our new state-of-the-art thermal imaging post-processing and reporting software. Again, it's going to allow you to streamline your workflow and increase productivity, automate your report design. And again, we'll have some videos and some live instruction on what that looks like. And then also, it'll help you manage hundreds of thermal images and videos that you take. You can have libraries inside of the software that you can reference and build out these reports in the most meaningful way. Again, this is going to be suitable for our handheld cameras, maybe if you're working with a drone, or if you have an optical gas imaging camera, you'd want to pull some of those images into Thermal Studio as well. All right, so how can FLIR Thermal Studio help me at my job? So image post-processing. So without Thermal Studio, it might be difficult to see or diagnose small differences in the image, right? You maybe took a good image and there may be an issue there, but unless you're really digging into that a little bit more, that problem might not pop out to you. So with Thermal Studio, you can use custom color palettes and image settings to highlight those findings on the pictures that maybe weren't clear just on the camera itself. So here on the bottom left, you got an image. This is a snip of inside of our software program. And as you can see here, we're just highlighting, you can choose different color palettes or isotherms that make it, the most meaningful to your image. And then again, without Thermal Studio, maybe you've taken an image and the area of interest is not shaped like a rectangle. There's some other softwares out there or on the camera only where, you can put in a box and you want to find the delta between two boxes. But your image is not a perfect rectangle or not a perfect circle. One of the neat things in Thermal Studios, we have what we call a magic wand. And this, you can actually freehand draw, the exact asset that you're looking at and the area of interest. And then for the OGI, if you have a small gas leak, that you recorded from a ways away, it might be hard to see that. But inside Thermal Studio, you can actually play with the image filters to make that leak pop even a little more, so it's clear where that leak is coming from and the magnitude of that leak. So here, I'm going to hit play on this video here in just 1 second, but this is just a couple examples of image post-processing. And so you'll just see this user kind of click around. Right now, we're going to add a spot meter. So we got a couple spots on there. So we got spot 1, spot 2. We can mess with the color palette. So we can go to iron, we can go to gray, rainbow, whatever you want. You can also do isotherms. So isotherms is you input a temperature and you want anything above or anything below that temperature to turn a certain color. You can rotate the image if necessary. And then also we have these different fusion modes. So one thing that we have is called MSX. MSX is a patented FLIR camera feature where it brings in both the thermal image and the visual light details of that image. And so it gives you a lot more clarity on what you're looking at. You can do different histograms, and then also you can label these. You can put some text annotations about the asset that you're looking at, so you know exactly whose basement it was, or what contactor it was, all of that for future reference. So really cool, just a few things that we can do for image post-processing. All right, batch processing is another nice feature that is new to Thermal Studio. And so without batch processing or without Thermal Studio, I need to review and analyze hundreds of pictures from a large site drone inspection, one by one. And this could take you hours to do. But with Thermal Studio, you can actually take all of those images, group them, and review them, all at one time, just in a couple clicks. So you can bring in all of these images, dump them in, and then, even do some reporting if you have some rules built into your report here. So we'll take a quick look at an example of that. Here, we're going to choose the palette that we want to see for this batch. Again, we're going to put an isotherm here. Anything above 50 degrees is going to turn gray. And then also we're going to put a maximum spot meter on this as well. So now, now we have these 9 images, and we're going to apply all of those rules that we just built to each of the 9 images. Now they're all categorized, now they're all foldered into your library, and they have all of those things that we just put into it. So if I know this video is kind of quick, but if I get to the right spot, excuse me. So if we look at this radiator, you can see the rules that we put in. We want to know the hottest temperature, so the spot max, so that's 72.8 degrees on this. And then anything above that, the isotherm that we put in there, anything above 50 degrees, we're going to color gray. So you can see some gray down here on the bottom, a little bit on the right, and on the left-hand side. All of those are 50 degrees Celsius or hotter. And then it tells you the coverage area is 7.7% of this image. So again, if I play this out, in a matter of seconds, it applied all of those rules to these 9 images, and now all of that reporting, all that analysis is done. You don't have to manually do it for each one over and over and over again. It would take you a long time to do that. So really nice feature there. Route Creator, I mentioned this a little bit ago. So without Thermal Studio or without Route Creator, if I, regularly inspect the same equipment, each time I do that, I have to, use pen and paper, create inspection lists, and check them off, one at a time. It's kind of like, walking into a bathroom at McDonald's, right? You'll see like, hey, this bathroom was last cleaned at 8 o'clock, and then it was last cleaned at 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock, right? Every time they go in there, they got to do that and, do that process. With Route Creator, you can actually upload all the assets that you need to inspect and populate it right onto your camera. So when you get to that job site, you'll know exactly what assets you need to do. And then you can also map out your inspection route. So if it's a big facility, and you got to inspect different panels throughout, or, critical motors in the production line, you can also do that, moving from the northeast corner of the building to the northwest corner, then, south or whatever, in the most efficient way possible. And without this, again, it becomes very cumbersome to write everything down and then pair up the images to the equipment, right? You're having to do a lot of this manually. You're working with your camera, then you're working with your notepad, then you're working maybe with your computer, all of that, and trying to marry all that together. But again, with the Route Creator and Thermal Studio, once you're done taking those assets, you can import all of those images with a single click. And then again, if you're using batch processing, bada bing, bada boom, you have your whole report done in a matter of minutes, that you don't have to, waste time doing. So very more efficient way of doing it. And then here's a little video that we'll play on Route Creator. So we're going to create a new route here. And then you'll see the user start to populate these different fields. You can actually do 6 different levels. Let's say we're doing this job for FLIR Systems, and FLIR Systems, we're in building number 1 and component A, and then building number 1 is going to actually have 2 different components, component A, component B. So you can add all of these different things into your route. And then FLIR Systems also has another building, so this will be part of a different route. So building 2, component C and D. Again, you can do 6 different layers. So you can, where it says 1, 2, 3, you can go down to 4, 5, and 6. So inside of building 1, it was like the northeast corner, the southwest corner. You can do all of that. For the route properties, so this is what you're going to see on your camera. So if everything is okay, you can have a green icon. If there's something that's critical, you'll be able to drop a note, and that will be a red icon. And we'll see this here in a minute as well. So you can save all of that into your route. Then you're going to export this route that you just created. You're going to export it and then import it into your camera. So again, just a couple clicks, and again, we're going to do some of this work up front so we can save time when we're actually in the field. So now when we get to the camera, this is what it looks like on the camera. So with just a click of the settings button, you're going to go into inspection route. You're going to turn this on, and then it will automatically pull that route into your camera that you just loaded. Again, the inspection route is FLIR Systems. That's the company that we're doing this for. So now we can click on here, and we can see the different notes. You know, this is okay, or I want to leave a note, or critical. You can take that image and add a comment. And then this is your inspection list, and it gives you like a nice little ticker. So on cabinet 1, you know, component A and B, they'll show you guys 0 of 2 assets collected, 0 of 2 assets collected. And then for the whole building 1, 0 of 4 assets collected. So that's really important, because if you know that there's 25 assets that you have to collect, you can see exactly which ones you have or which ones you don't have, making sure that you don't leave that job without it being done 100%. One of the last features here that we're going to talk about is advanced reporting. So again, you know, the report I just made took me over an hour to make, and it still doesn't look quite the way I want. With Thermal Studio, you can select a customized template. So we have customized templates, or you can actually create your own that really fits for you. And this is all housed within our software, so you don't need Microsoft Office or anything else like that. You can find the report layout that works best for you and have it look concise to the spec that you're going to produce. So here we go. We're just going to generate a report here, select a couple different images, add them to the report, all 13 of these images. And then right here, they're all going to have the same look and feel. And even still, while we're building this report, we can still click into the images and, you know, do any of our other analysis that we want. If we want to add a box or add a line or add a spot, whatever we want to do, we can do that. But then you can see, you know, the thumb drive starting here, you know, picture 1, picture 2, picture 3 are these different reports, and they're all going to have that same look and feel. So it's going to be really easy for that user to read it and understand the content in front of them. Some other features and benefits, and here in a minute I'm going to pass this over to Manny, and he'll go through a couple of you know, his favorite features and benefits and where he sees the most use out of this. But you know, advanced measurement tools, custom palettes, free rotation, filters on radiometric video, live map view if you're doing drone stuff, coverage. There's formula. I think Manny's going to cover some formulas that you can put in here. MP4 video playback. Dark mode, you can just kind of change the look and the feel. And then it's applicable for 22 different languages. So when we look at the lineup of FLIR Thermal Studio, we have the starter version, the standard, and the professional. So the starter is free. You can go right onto FLIR.com and search Thermal Studio and download it for free. You could have it, you know, by the end of this webinar if you want. You can start playing with it. So you can do certain things within the free version. You can still view and edit the radiometric images. You know, you can stream, and then you can do some measurement functions. And then you also have report template layouts. If you bump up to the standard, you're going to be able to, you know, get a little more custom feel. You can create, you know, up your own report layouts and custom image overlays. You'll also get more measurement functions. And then the professional, which most of our users are purchasing, you know, includes everything that we have. So this is the most popular version, really gives you the full gamut of all of the abilities of the software. Again, these are yearly licenses that you can purchase. We also offer them as perpetual licenses, but not as popular. They're a little more expensive up front. And then if there are features or new added features, you would have to buy the new one. Where the license, you would get those updates at the turn of each year. Sean, I'll ask you really quick if there's any questions that have come through the chat before we go to the live demo.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Russell. So everyone, it's time for you to take advantage of having an expert like Russell with us to answer any and all questions that you may have. So to send in a question, just please use the chat feature. And please note that if you have any product-specific related questions, including pricing, availability, we encourage you to visit our website, globaltestsupply.com. There you're going to find a list of our products, pricing, availability, technical specifications, as well as our contact info and any different ways that you can connect with our technical support staff. We'll be happy to address and answer any and all questions that you may have. Okay, so let's just see what we've got so far. Okay, Alan, we'll hopefully what Manny's going to go over with the demo now is going to give you a better idea of the whole reporting process as well. And if you're having any specific questions about how to find the reporting features and how they work, feel free to send us a chat or send us an email afterwards. We'll also be following up with you. Jason is asking, are older cameras like a FLIR E60 compatible with Route Creator?
Gotcha, great question. So the Route Creator is not compatible with the E60. Route Creator is compatible with our new platform of our EXX cameras, E76, 86, 96. Those cameras came out almost 2 years ago, and then also our T-series models, T500, T800, and T1020. So Route Creator is not backwards compatible, but with a camera like an E60, you can use the Thermal Studio software, so you can still upload those radiometric images into the software and do any of the report analysis, but we won't be able to get the Route Creator on one of those older cameras.
Okay, thanks, Russell. That's good to know. I have another question here. Is FLIR Thermal Studio compatible with Mac OS?
Gotcha. So right now, it is not. It's compatible with Windows. I think there is some talk about trying to get it compatible with the Macs, but I'm not sure the exact timeline on that. So right now, it is a Windows-based program.
Perfect. And last one we have for now is, if I have more than one computer, am I going to need multiple licenses?
Gotcha. Yes. So you will need multiple licenses when you purchase the software. It's just for one license. But that said, if you want multiple people to have it, you could buy one and then have somebody else, download the free version. Also, all of the reports are non-proprietary, so meaning that you can still share reports even if somebody doesn't have the software, so you can still share PDFs and JPEG images, email attachments, all of that good stuff. But when you purchase it, it is only good for one computer, if you will.
Perfect. Thanks, Russell. I think for now that's it, but anyone else who has questions or you think of one during the next segment, please feel free to send it by chat and we'll try to get to it before the end of the webinar. All right. So I guess it's off to you, Manny.
Awesome. All right. And Manny, I should be able to give you control if you are ready, sir.
Yep.
All right. I just passed the stick over to you. Hopefully you get it.
Which screen do you see right now? Because I can't tell from my.
I can see your software screen. I can see your mouse moving around.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. So thank you, Russell. So I hope, thank you. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed Russell's presentation, and I love what information he presents about our software. One thing that we really pride ourselves at Teledyne FLIR is the new software that we have come up with to replace our old FLIR tools. I just want to show you some of the basic features, and then we can get into some more detailed ones as well. In basic form, when you open up Thermal Studio Pro, it's going to bring you to our Home tab, where from there you can choose to create a blank report, choosing a template, and so on and so forth, all these options. In the particular case, let's just use this example, generate report using a template. So you click this option. Now, I have some extra templates that I've added over time, but typically the program comes preloaded with 5 templates, and then you can create your own. Now, if you ever create a template and you want to share it, you're able to email that person the file, and the person can open up that template and work with it. And let's just choose the basic criticality template. We'll go next, or select, I should say. And we go next. Here it's going to ask you for the images. Oh, I skipped a step. I apologize. The images you like to load. So I'm just going to use one image for now. We click on it to the report. Now it's going to generate a report based on the template that I chose. And for now, I just chose one, but you can do hundreds of images and create the report. There is, it's quite powerful software to be worked with. And then you go next, and now you're going to get to the report page. In this case, there's no map because there's no GPS coordinates inserted into the image. There is no map display. However, if you have cameras that have the ability to save GPS coordinates onto the JPEG images, it will be shown as a map, and it's a summary map, meaning that if you have multiple images, multiple coordinates, they will all show up on your summary map, and then each page will have its own individual map showing the location as well. Within the report, in this case, you see there's 2 images, so if the cameras do capture your visual and thermal, it will show the 2 images side by side, and even the proprietary MSX technology, which Russell had mentioned before. I'm going to get into it in a second. But as you can see, you have all the information, and these are all things that you can adjust, add, remove your comments, graphs, and so on and so forth. There's so much features that you can put into our reports. Editing is straightforward. It's all done within our software. There's nothing, if anybody's worked with our older FLIR tools software, you might be familiar where in the past you would exit the software to go work in Microsoft Word. Today, we have no longer offering that option. It's all within the software. You're able to check your spell check and everything else within the software itself. But what we've done is we've given you a lot more features, right? They're all here, fields and tables and all kinds of things that can be added on. The other thing you can do within the report, if you double click on the image, you'll be able to edit the image and make changes. So as Russell mentioned before, in the case of the Pro version, you have a choice of all these tools, including, we call it the Magic Wand. Magic Wand, just basically, you click on an object and it basically takes anything with similar temperatures or in a shape and creates a special tool for that particular object. This is only available on the Pro version, not in the other versions, but it's quite advanced. We never had this before. This was cases where we have customers where they have awkward shapes of objects. They want to be able to really create, the thermal thermogram of that object. Well, with the Magic Wand, you're able to do that. You also have other sets of tools as well. We also added now the ability to add icons. So if you want to put an arrow pointing something specific towards a target, you can, but what's also nice is you can actually write comments if you wanted to in the arrow as well. So quite interesting. This is all can be added after the fact and inserted into the report. You have a choice of palettes as well. You have the ability to do your isotherms, as Russell mentioned. If you want to adjust your color distribution depending on how you present the image. If there's any cropping to do, image rotation, or image mode. Now, for those who are familiar with the thermal fusion, this is another technology out there in the marketplace. Thermal fusion is where you take a percentage of thermal combined with a percentage of visual. So as you play around, you see more thermal, more visual, or so on and so forth. The problem with this is you're not getting your 100% thermal. You're only getting limited value of thermal compared to the full visual. With FLIR's proprietary MSX, it's actually patented technology. You give you 100% thermal overlaid with the visual details. So you get full thermal and the details. So if there was any text or comments or anything relevant in the visual detail, it would show up on top of the thermal image. Here, you can also adjust. So if you have a situation where the emissivity of this target this object zone is different from the rest of the parameters, you can right-click and use local parameters. This can be done on the camera and or on the software. This is a great advantage for anybody who does electrical work. Sometimes the emissivities can vary from object to object, so it's a great feature set. Once all the changes have been applied, you save, you close, and if you notice, as we go back to our report page, all the changes we did before now show up directly on our page. Okay. Another great feature of the software, and I love this one. In your reporting section, I'm going to go back to the template option here. Any of these templates, supposedly you want to just, you're in a hurry, you don't have time to open software, then go through this. You can create a shortcut onto the desktop. So you do create rapid shortcut. I already have one created right here on your desktop. What's interesting now though is, let's say you're in a hurry, you want to create a report, you go to your SD card or your documents. I'm just going to open the folder, for example, here. Bear with me for 1 second. Make sure it's clear. Samples, I'll take some images. I'll do some electrical. Let's say we take these. We drag and drop these images onto the icon and the program, so I don't have to open the software, I don't have to choose a template, everything is preset, your template is already preloaded. You just drop the images right onto the icon and the program is going to generate a report for you right away with all the settings that you had before. Great feature, just makes it, we want to make sure it's easy. The idea of the software is to make it easy for you to do analysis. We understand you're busy, time is of essence and time is money, so we want to make it easy for you to use and comfortable. And this is one great feature that I just really love. One of the other great features, I'm just going to let it finish loading. Russell did mention batch processing, and you saw the video of it, so I won't go over it too much. And we have Panorama. Now, what is Panorama? Supposedly, you're in a situation where you only have one lens for a camera, when you're not able to generate a wide shot, or you have a large substation that you'd love to put one image together to be able to do delta analysis, comparisons between multiple points on one image. If you don't have the panorama capability, what happens is you're exiting one image, taking a spot measurement, going to the next one to check, and then you're manually doing all these inputs on an Excel file, paper, whatever the case may be. With the panorama functionality, you choose the images right here, so we do select it. Now we create panorama. What that's going to do is going to stitch together all the images to create one large radiometric JPEG. So remember, our images by default are JPEG, which means you can open them in Windows, share them without any special conversion. Now the software creates a larger image radiometric JPEG. Radiometric meaning it carries temperature data, so each pixel has temperature. But instead of having individual images, they're stitched together to give you one large. So now when I want to do a delta comparison, whether this is a substation, a building, an electrical room, a room of some sorts, let's say you're a restaurator, you want to capture all the wet walls and it's a large area. Well, now you don't have to have multiple lenses. You can just stitch it. You're basically increasing the angle view of your camera, or even the resolution, because you're just putting that many more pixels to one image. So great advanced tool. Any issues, if things are not lined up, well, the software allows you to realign things and correct things. And then you can even crop it. If you don't want to see it kind of that weird angle, not a problem, we can crop it down to one. And again, this becomes one large JPEG, but it's radiometric, meaning every pixel will save its temperature data. If there was any visual images with each thermal image, they will also be stitched together to create a larger image for you as well, overlay. So you'll have your MSX capability on top of it. We always ask to give about a 25% overlap. It can be a little less. The program will recognize it, but if anything doesn't line up, the program will ignore the picture and leave it to the side. Okay. And then I wanted to see if there's any questions so far, Sean.
Yeah, thanks, Manny. Let me take a look right here. All we have so far is if they have FLIR tools on their cell phone, are they able to transfer a report over to FLIR Studio on their computer?
So Russell, I'll take it. So unfortunately, the reports that you create on your mobile platform, being Android or Apple devices, are not compatible with Thermal Studio. So you won't be able to bring the PDF. Now, they are PDFs, so yes, you can copy them onto your desktop and share them that way, but in the sense of analyzing them or modifying them, unfortunately, that's not possible. They're not designed to work together. The mobile platform is more designed, as Russell mentioned at the beginning, for the Craftsman Quick Inspector. For more detailed analysis, we always recommend using the PC-based, the desktop version of the software, just because of its power and capability of what it can do for you. It's very advanced.
For sure, and we actually just got another one here. Can I get my pictures to be uploaded through to Thermal Studio over Wi-Fi?
So interesting question. So yes, and it depends on the way you connectivity. Now we do offer a free cloud-based service that Russell mentioned before called Insight. This one, it's a free account. Now, right now we only have one camera model that automatically links to this cloud base. It's the FLIR C5, which means that you turn on the auto upload. If you're connected to a Wi-Fi, whether it be Wi-Fi hotspot or any kind of internal Wi-Fi, as soon as you capture an image, it would automatically upload to the cloud, and you can install the Insight Sync, and it shows up as a library. Sorry, I called it Ignite. It's actually Insight. And any images that you upload into the Insight Sync cloud will be automatically downloaded onto your desktop. So that's a great way. Now, so far, this is only available for C5. We will be adding this functionality to our other camera platforms. I'd say by the end of the year, they're kind of reviewing the different ones, but this is going to be added. For now, the only way to do a Wi-Fi transfer, you would have to connect the camera if you're local. So if you're in the same vicinity, your camera has to be on the same Wi-Fi as the PC. So either being the hotspot of a phone and or your network, then you can transfer the images to the camera. It doesn't always work, depends on the phone, depends on the configuration, but you can try it as well. Otherwise, a mobile platform like your tablets or cell phones, we're using our FLIR tools, mobile apps. Yes, you can do Wi-Fi image transfer.
Perfect. So I think that's it for now. Anyone else, if you have questions, now would be the time to send them through. Manny, is there anything else you want to go over regarding the software?
Yep. So so now we're going to get into a little bit more detail. So one thing we've also added, one of the other great features we've added that I love a lot is formula, or automatic criticality, we call it. If you look here on the comments, this is a formula that is preloaded with the software. You can modify it. So under the section of the editor, you have formula. I'm just going to access it from here. So I select the object, the expression, I can modify it. This is actually preloaded as a rating, call it a rating formula. This is the case, it's this one, where you can add colors and messages based on your conditions. In this particular case, I am asking the program for box 1 max. So the max temperature of box 1 in any image minus spot 1 of any image with an absolute value greater than or equal to 1. If the difference is greater than or equal to 4, everything is normal, meaning that if I'm comparing 2 points and the delta temperature between those 2 points is 4 degrees or less, it's normal. If it's, again, this is just based on, this is not actual, obviously it varies from different standards and all that, but let's use it for this case in point. The delta difference between 2 points is greater than 4 or less than 15, and change the message. So let me show you what's going to happen. It's going to give you different messages depending on the conditions of box 1 max minus FSP1. Right now it says repair next time. So let me make a change in this image and watch what happens. Just give me a second here. I'm just going to edit. So box 1 max temperature, in this particular case, it is 20 degrees. SP1 right now is showing 13 degrees. So I'm above the 4-degree difference that I mentioned before. If I put it in the same area, so now the delta difference between the two is less than 4, right? I'm going to save, I'm going to close. I only did that just to show what happens, saying investigate. I go back, sorry, I missed the, here, 24. And then we will move it a little bit more. Save, close. Prepare next time. So the messages automatically change based on the criticality of what is happening within the image, if there is temperature data. So you see, and what's nice about this is when you're trying to do an investigation, if you pre-create a formula, as long as there is information that, in this case, this image has no box or zone, it will not create a comment. Imagine this, you're creating a report, you automatically upload, remember I showed you the rapid shortcut onto the desktop, you upload all the images, the program will automatically, and remember you have multiple, you don't need to have just one, you can have multiple formulas. Now the criticality is preloaded for you. You no longer have to spend the time to analyze everything. The program will do it for you based on the set conditions that you have. John, anything else?
Nothing yet, Manny. I think we're out of questions for today. If there's anything you want to go over before we close things off, just let me know, and or otherwise I'll start to close things off.
Hey guys, this is Russell. Manny, I thought that was great. Thanks for going over that. It's like I could watch you do 100 of these and pick up something new every time. So really appreciate the walkthrough there and for everybody joining. So if there are any other questions, type them in now. We'll hang on for another minute. Otherwise, we'll let you close us out, Sean.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, any questions that we miss, please feel free to contact us on globaltestsupply.com. There you can contact us by chat, email, or call, and we'll make sure to get in touch with Russell and Manny and get some answers for any of those questions. On behalf of Global Test Supply University, we thank you for attending our webinar today. We hope that you found it informative and helpful. We're here to assist you in any ways. Simply visit us at globaltestsupply.com for anything you need, including our contact info. At the end of this webinar, we're going to have a very short survey that we'd like you to complete. Your feedback will assist us in improving and allow us to bring you more topics that are of interest to you. We have upcoming webinars in the next few weeks and months, so please visit the training section on globaltestsupply.com for a full schedule of the upcoming webinars and topics. And lastly, don't forget that as a thank you for attending our webinar today, your name will be entered into the draw to win $100 for your next online order. The winner will be announced on our social media channels, so be sure to check us out there. Well, on behalf of Global Test Supply University, I just want to say a huge thank you, Russell and Manny, for taking the time out today. I know I myself learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else did, so we really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.